What's up, guys? In today's video, I'm gonna finally talk about I'm a mess. Anyway, I'm gonna finally talk about copyright situation that I had gotten myself into. One moment. Sorry, was running the head cleanings on the other printers while I do this. So I wanted to talk about what happened and kind of shed some light on what went on. So that weekend, or that Friday, this happened on a Tuesday. I can find specific dates. Hold on. In a second. February 5th. Okay, so we were leaving for our trip February 5th. And this happened February 2nd. Super Bowl was the 7th, I want to say. And I had made this design. I was the original creator of this design that went pretty viral on Etsy and on Tampa Talent and the Florida groups that are around. At that point, Iron Designs had reached maximum capacity of orders. It had reached the next level standard or workload. That same weekend, I had purchased the white toner printer, and I was told that there was enough fluorescent inks, so I had invested pretty much my trip money to get this white toner and produce. And this was before I released this image. So when I got my white toner printer, I printed out this image, and from there it went. On Monday, I overnighted my paper for the printer and the toner for the printer. It was supposed to be overnighted, and for some reason, it didn't make it out that day. My shirts as well. I had ordered a whole bunch of shirts overnight. Mind you, any other time, my shirts were not there that day. So on Monday, I also posted that I was going to be shutting down for maintenance because I wanted to train myself on white toner and the CAD Link program and stuff like that before the trip. And so I had already stopped taking any kind of orders that Monday. It was the last day for anyone to input their order if they wanted this design prior to me shutting down, right? 'Cause I was going to be shut down till after Super Bowl. Got a boatload of orders. Tuesday, I panicked at that point because none of my shirts or material arrived. So at worst case, I was just going to refund everybody, but I was literally just chilling on my porch, smoking, and I go inside, and within a few minutes, we hear a bang on the door. I think it's UPS or a customer, and I'm livid because who is banging on my door in such a caliber. When I open the door, Homeland Security provides their badge. NFL provides photo proof of who they are, their copyright representative, and they tell me that I am selling an item that is copywritten. And I'm panicking at this point. Cloud nine, right? Probably smelling like it, and I have the cops essentially at my door. So, they did not have a warrant, and though most people ask me, oh, if they didn't have a warrant, you didn't have to allow them into your lab. I get that. However, I didn't really have much to hide, and it was something I had to face on, regardless of the situation. At that point, I thought it was this design, and so I was doing it, and I faced the consequences as they come. So I didn't put up a fight. I explained, I allowed them in my lab. They come in my lab. The NFL rep is like, oh, you do production here? Now, mind you, it was a slap to the face, but at the same time, they thought I was this giant production company producing thousands of shirts from what I looked like online, based on what Homeland was telling me, that I look like a huge production company. But he took a look around in my lab. He turned around and was like, so you produce everything here, nothing else? And I'm like, yeah, if you want to come in and take a look at my home, I don't have any product, I don't have anything in there. This is my lab. This is where everything happens. He's like, where's the NFL shirt? I had 2 of the shirts he was talking about, because I was taking it on a trip for me and my husband, and I had made 2 more as a gift for my brother, who went to NFL, that NFL event that was going on the week prior to Super Bowl, or the weekend prior to Super Bowl. So these were on the table folded. I was folding up the last little bit of orders that I was doing prior to, shutting down for the trip. And then I had a whole box, huge box of orders that were fulfilled already in the USPS mailers. And a stack of invoices, I would say about that big, on my table. He asked the NFL rep if anything in here was what was theirs, because essentially they were looking for their stuff. And the guy's like, Homeland Security's like, where's the NFL shirt? And I pulled the 2 that were already in a suitcase, because I was packing, in here. I pulled the 2 that were already in a suitcase, and I explained that I had made those for a trip me and my husband were taking during Super Bowl, and we were going to represent in a different city. So they looked through my luggage to see if I had any shirts, I guess, that I was going to be selling. When they saw it was just 3 sets of anything, me and my husband and son. They took my invoices and kind of was scoping through. All the invoices said Tampa 3 Teams shirt. But again, still at that point, I'm panicking, thinking it was this, because this was the one that was circling the internet like there was no tomorrow, having more people contact me than I can actually keep up with at this point. So after they searched, I'm like, look, really, I'm not taking any more orders. I showed them on the internet that I had already posted a few days before, that I was already shutting down and I wasn't taking any more orders or producing. He told me they had already knew that. They had already knew who I sold to. he stated that they saw that I hadn't really sold anything that was a trademark, at least for what they were looking for at the moment. They knew that I had been, how long I had been operating, and they're like, oh, well, you're pretty successful. So um, I guess, they assumed that I was taking the NFL shirts to the next level based on my sales, I guess, whatever information. He wasn't completely 100% with what information he had, but based on what he was telling me, he knew when I started. Um, and, that wasn't in the books, only the transactions that I use a program to invoice, that's when he dated it back to. So I presumed that he had access to that. He mentioned a few conversations that I had on Facebook with someone, because someone had wrote me 2 hours prior, hey, be careful with the NFL shirts, or the football shirts, because NFL's on a prowl, or cops are on a prowl. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm shut down for maintenance, is what I had told her, so I'm not worried about it. And within the hour, someone was knocking on my door, and that conversation was brought up, so it leads me to believe they were also in my Facebook. Now, I don't know how much of this is true, I can't confirm any of it, but how else would he know the conversation, right? So, needless to say, I wasn't really as big as they assumed I was. I'm just, in my mind, oh, I'm small, why would they look at me, da 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 da. And really, I overlooked that design. That design wasn't one I was selling. I just liked the color combinations together. I bought the design on Etsy. Um, so I didn't really think when I posted the photo just to show my work, um, that it would bring the heat that it brought. And he stated my photo was shared over 49,000 times. I don't know that it was that much or not, but he did think that I was some kind of big timer. So I could say that he really believed I was duplicating these shirts at a rapid fire rate, and that wasn't the case. But when he saw that I didn't make any money for the actual NFL shirts, he touched this shirt, one of these shirts that were on top of the white crafting table I had, and he said, this might be a problem because it's too blatant. Mind you, NFL was here for Tampa, and he didn't mention this portion. He just mentioned this, and for me to pull any of the listings that have the NFL design and to cease selling. And at that point, I had every emotion in me, um, and I felt like throwing up, passing out. My heart was beating so fast. Everything was like, I can't believe this is happening to me, and I'm trying to focus while they're talking to me. So when they left, I had a little bit more time. Every emotion calmed down. I started crying. I couldn't believe it happened to me. I didn't know if it was going to drag on any longer. They just said what they said. They're like, oh, Super Bowl is too big for us to just send out a letter. So I presume that this would have been my letter had it not been so close to Super Bowl time. But don't put it past them to show up at your house, because I never received a letter about it. They just showed up. So everyone else in my city that was selling in corners and stuff got their stuff taken away, and through the blessing of Jehovah, my stuff was left alone. They left me alone. They just asked me to, they weren't rude, um, they weren't messy, none of that. Can I see? And I had nothing to hide, so I showed them. Again, I get a lot of people telling me, oh, they didn't have a warrant. They can produce a warrant faster than I can blink. Hell, they may not even have one, but produce one before I can get to jail. Okay, I'm not I'm not here to to do an upward battle and make things worse for myself. You know, if I did something, I face the consequences, because that's what being an adult is. You either educate yourself and take the warnings that people are telling you, because it really happens. I didn't think it would happen to me. I'm just a small timer. My YouTube wasn't even popping. I don't think it's popping now, but it wasn't even what it is today. So it's, you know, I just don't know where they thought I was this giant production company, but they did, and it led them to come here. And had I had the wrong stuff out or on my table, that could have went very different. Or if my attitude was bad, that could have went very different, because at the end of the day, I mean, I still think they could have had a problem with the shirt. I just think that since I came to them humbly, I allowed them to look. I did ask if they had a warrant. They told us no, but they wanted to just talk to me. And so I'm like, well, while you're here, check it out. And standard, they're like, if we had a warrant, we would look here, 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 and here, if we sense that you're really, really selling the product. So at the end of the day, had they saw something that they needed to seize, they would have produced the warrant. So thankfully for me and my compliance, it turned out into my favor. They left me alone. I cried about it. During the trip, I felt this emptiness. It was just weird. It shook me up from head to toe. I came back from the trip. My energy in my lab was different. I didn't want to take any orders. I thought I was being set up by every customer who was asking me. You know, I just, it really, really brought down my money. And not that I was doing, copyright infringement, but, I didn't know the full laws. Because if you guys don't know, even down to the font, if you don't pay to sell whatever font you're using in that design, it's copyright infringement. So I suggest you educate yourself and don't ever think it can't happen to you because you're working from home or you're just a small timer. Um, Appearances are just obviously different online. Take precautionary measures. It's not worth losing everything you own for or to someone who really their meal is worth more than what we own. So heed the warnings, guys. It really, really happened to me. It was unreal to me. It took a month or so for me to just be like, I can't believe that this really went down in my lab, and how it could have went differently, because I saw people in handcuffs on the news. I saw people get their stuff taken. So I had just bought this printer. They would have taken my stuff. That's everything I had. So I also want to touch back to how God played a role in all of this. All my things were set to arrive Monday afternoon. It didn't arrive. It arrived Tuesday, right before Homeland Security arrived. In fact, the shirts were on the porch when they were knocking on my door. I didn't realize that UPS had dropped them off. So God saved me in a sense where my product never shipped out when I paid extra for it to ship out, and it always has from the company. Had it arrived to me on Monday like it should have, I would have been producing Tuesday when they arrived. Okay, so they arrived Tuesday, and so they would have caught me in the middle of producing. I'm not sure if this design 100% was or wasn't part of the problem, but it was on the table, and all he mentioned was the race logo was pretty blatant on it, and that's all he said. And he said they might, and didn't say anything else. So this wasn't really the shirt they were looking for, but this was the shirt I was producing. So in a sense, God saved me, and my things arrived when they arrived so that I wouldn't produce. And they did cut open the box to ensure that those weren't shirts I was shipping out, and saw that they were empty, or, just blank t-shirts. As well as when I told him that I didn't have any toner to produce anything, that I literally ordered toner. He knew that was true, because when they cut open the box that was on the porch, there was toner in there. So my story aligned. They left me alone, and things went well because I wasn't, trying to rebuttal them. Long story short, I guess, don't test your waters, man. You've worked hard to get to where you at. I know I've had meltdown after meltdown. I used to cry, kick, scream in here. Last year was filled of downing wine bottles, downing bangs, not eating, hospital visits for dehydration, to get my business to the next level, to provide my customers quality. All that could have been taken in the blink of an eye. Did I make enough money? Yes, but not what I invested in time, heart, soul, and effort to build what I had built at the time. So pick and choose your battles, guys. If you don't want to take the warning and you think it won't happen to you, fine. You got to remember, there's a lot of people who are doing this now. Back then, it wasn't so easy to access these machines to do these t-shirts. You needed the space, you needed the money. When Cricut came out with desktop, when Cameo came out with, or Silhouette came out with desktop versions, COVID hit, people were left without an income, and everyone jumped in. I see people making Nike, I see people making, and don't get me wrong, I make them for myself. I make them for my son, just for him to have shirts, but they're never the real Nike logo. It's always switched up with a drip or something of sort. Everyone does it, and that's essentially they're losing money, because now you as a customer are no longer buying the Nike, the Jordan, the whatever the case is. You're making them. You're selling them to other people for cheaper. So it's costing them, and they're coming for you guys, for anyone that is doing it. I did have a Chanel transfer. It was like the Chanel with the drips. I had made it neon when I was doing white toner videos, and that shirt was on the desk somewhere in the back, and they did say that Chanel, Louis were already doing the same thing. We're already doing the same thing they're doing, going around and seizing people for for using their logo. So heed the warning, guys. I don't have a reason to have to tell you this. I could keep quiet. I went through it. I made my changes to ensure I don't lose everything I work for. However, if I can save someone else who's willing to listen, the grief, because I tell you what, the whole month after that was a weird feeling. I had this weird vibe in me. My energy wasn't the same. It was just weird. It took a little bit, a lot of pep talking. My husband pep talking me, like, okay, let's just make the changes. Come on, you can't let it just get to you. And I did. I made the changes I needed to. So here I am. Just wanted to shed a little bit of light about what happened that day. And hopefully it doesn't fall on deaf ears. If it does, I guess hopefully it never happens to you, because I don't wish it upon anyone, but just be careful. All right, guys, thanks for listening.